Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Splatcast. We're back once again. Hope everybody had a happy holidays and everything. Obviously, we've been kind of out of pocket recently with everything going on, but we are back. And yeah, it's me, Rhett, and we have with us Jace.
Yo.
And we have Anthony.
Yo.
Yeah. All right, guys. Good to be back. So we kind of discussed, like, obviously, today's Sunday the 5th, so there's been a big game that just took place in the NBA that we definitely want to talk about. But just kind of quick catch up for this week, kind of get us back on track here. And then we're going to start digging into the mock draft with Jace, because that's kind of Jace's wheelhouse. So we're going to do a tankathon sim here on the show, and then we're going to kind of do a quick little mock draft of the top 14. We'll go from there. But yeah, I did want to start. Anthony, I think we'll probably start this off with you, seeing as you were there at the game today.
Oh, yeah. The Thunder.
Boston OKC.
I mean, it's getting really hard to not say Shea's the best player when he took on the Celtics, beat them. Fully
He's
healthy
the MVP,
Celtics squad.
like hands down MVP. At the moment, I don't think it's that
getting hard to argue. Yeah.
It's getting hard. And I'm really trying to see both sides. Both sides being Jokic and
It's
Shea.
him and Jokic right now, right? Yeah.
Not to say that, Giannis can't – I mean, Giannis's team is not helping his cause, but the Tatum, the Celtics could, go on a crazy run too. They're still really good. And Luka's hurt, so it's really – right now, it's coming down to Shea and Jokic, and it's a great race.
Amen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any argument for anybody other than Shea. I'm biased, probably. But, I mean, really, if you look at it, not only also is he the MVP, he's the best basketball player in the league right now. Right this second.
He's like, how you were saying it's kind of a two-man race at the moment with him and Jokic. Like, I completely understand the argument for Jokic, just purely statistical. But, like, as far as two-way impact goes, including, like, overall efficiency and just everything, team success, blah, 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 like, SGA is in, like, an extremely rare group of players, like, historically. Like, what is it? It's probably him, obviously.
Steph and Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I was going to say, everyone's seen this, Michael Jordan, but, like,
yeah,
Shea's playing an old school, like, style of offensive game right now, which, the three-pointers killing the NBA, blah, blah, blah. Like, watch this guy. Like, he's
I don't
remarkable.
see. Maybe we're really lucky to root for this guy, and we watch him all the time and everything. But like, I don't see how you could complain about the game when there's guys like this.
Yeah,
he's not the only one. Like, it's not perfect and everything. Like, which we'll talk about probably, I think, here in a minute when we talk about this Thunder and Celtics game. But I mean, there's some really, really, really great players in the game right now.
Sure,
and it's not just like LeBron and Steph and all the kind of older guard guys. Like, there's some great players in this game right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that
if you're complaining about it, you're just complaining.
It's funny that the top three, everyone's like, oh, too many threes. Well, the top three guys are not chucking up a bunch of threes.
You're right. You're exactly right. Yeah, the three best players in the game don't play that way.
They're just nitpicking, like,
it's just complaining just to be complaining.
That is a big thing with NBA things. NBA fans, I think, is like, they always want something to complain about, whether it's LeBron and Steph meeting
always
up in the
something.
finals every year. Like,
I think that's
if it's not
interesting.
one thing, it's the other.
Yes, and it's the Charles Barkley's, that are like kind of criticizing the game. He got into it with JJ this week. I don't know if you guys have caught that.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's like they are not supporting the evolution of the
like
game.
The next kind of
like
group of
the
guys.
NFL is, like look at the NFL. It used to be a running back wins the Heisman every year. Well, now everyone's passing for 400 yards a game. Well, where's the complaints? The viewership's going up. So
Right.
I don't see what
it's the way it's
three-pointer.
marketed. That's what it is. Yeah, they've chosen the wrong media partners to like carry the torch on like basically advertising the game. Like they just picked the wrong people, like the people that ESPN have. I really think the TNT guys are like pretty good. Like they're not always positive, but they're way better than what's on ESPN.
Yeah.
And ESPN's like kind of the premier partner with ABC and ESPN and the finals and everything like that. You know, like I know there's playoff ball on TNT and everything, but yeah, they've just chosen the wrong media partners. And I'm starting to think like that the NBA doesn't know what they don't understand their own product. And from like the executive level, like Silver and his guys, like, how are you not wanting to advertise or like, you know, put a bunch of stock in this Thunder team?
Yeah.
They're young. They've got one super duper star, two other like emerging star guys, you know. I understand they're in Oklahoma City, but you don't want to put them on like national TV against your big market teams. Like,
right.
How did you not know that they were going to be good and exciting? Like should be in the spotlight.
Today's game, especially them in Boston, you know, Boston's not the 1 seed in the East, whatever. Like,
I know what you mean though. They're still the team they won.
It was like,
the team.
You could have picked this game out from like the day the schedule was released to make it like an ABC game, an ESPN game, TNT game, whatever. And you're either watching it locally or on NBA TV. Mm-hmm. Like, ridiculous stuff, man.
I really like what is their excuse for not having it? Like, we understand football is going on today, but talking about the Sunday, but the Sunday primetime games, that's always ABC.
I know the Sunday showcase.
ABC's not showing NFL, so what are they showing?
No,
Wheel of Fortune.
I know.
Like, you got to put this game.
Yeah, nobody's watching it
at all costs. Yeah, put it on.
You're absolutely right.
Like,
well, and like the obvious argument too is like we didn't make our conference finals even last year, you know, so like that's valid, like that's true, but still, like you got to know, like we're probably going to be pretty good, you know, like
right.
We should, especially when we play like the good teams from the East, because that happens so rarely. Like that should be on national TV.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do y'all want to talk about the game today specifically for a minute? Y'all have anything on that?
I've got quite a bit of stuff.
All right.
Anthony.
Okay, yeah, well, so Thunder won 105-92 today in Oklahoma City. Just get that out of the way. But yeah, go ahead, Jace.
Anthony, since you were at the game, if you have any, you know, insight you'd like to share first, being there, kind of feel of the crowd, whatever. Floor is yours.
It was crazy. Like I knew it before I even got to the arena, because I usually park in like the same lot, the one that's like next to the convention center. And I got there at 2:00, which is like, it's not rushing it, but like I've never seen
30 minutes sports.
Never seen that lot full, and they had the full sign. And I was like, okay, so that's the vibe we're on.
I went to the Knicks game this past week, just a few days ago, and it was the same way. Like,
I was gonna say so Jace, did you watch on TV today?
Yes.
And Anthony, you watched the Knicks on TV?
Yeah.
So I obviously watched both of them on TV, and they were both loud on TV. The environment looked awesome. Is that how y'all felt?
So yeah.
And
that was for anyone who doesn't know, Rhett, you obviously know this. Our cousin Wilder came with me to the Knicks game. That was his first ever Thunder game.
What a great one.
I was just like raving to him, like, this is a great game to be the first one you see in person. Like, it was
that's
like
incredible
scenario. But not to.
What a great game too that one was.
Yeah. No,
sorry.
definitely.
Yeah, we're kind of getting off topic, but yeah.
But yeah, with the game against Boston, if anyone missed it, it basically came down to the fourth quarter. Pretty big lead, double-digit lead for Boston at halftime. Thunder.
It's really about the second half is what happened in the game.
Right. And speaking of the second half, I have a few little stats written down here. First one is that the Celtics only scored 27 points in the second half.
That's the point I wanted to make sure and make.
Yeah. Did y'all see that that's the lowest scoring half of anybody this entire season?
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not surprising. That's like nothing, pretty much.
Boston made 8 shots. 8 shots.
In the second half?
In the second half.
Oh, my goodness.
8. Like, disgusting, man. Jaylen Brown, obviously he had 21 points at halftime. Finished the game with 21 points. He didn't score any in the second half. Shout out Lou Dort. My goodness, man. Lou Dort, he was taken over in the second half. He looked fantastic.
He went beast mode.
He went beast mode. Lou the Beast.
Oh, man. That was so awesome. Well, the last 2 games, it's really been like somebody stepped up.
Right.
At
Role
the right
players.
time. Like, yeah, somebody stepped. And that's like, that's what is going to have to happen in the playoffs. Like, it's been really encouraging for me recently because it is going to be somebody different every couple of games because, Shea's going to do his thing and the infrastructure that we have is really good. But against really good teams, you have to have somebody be a little bit better than what they usually are. That's why we lost last year. Like, that's what it comes down to. So it's been really fun and encouraging. It's been awesome.
And hey, I've got one more fourth quarter stat that I wanted to share with you guys. How we were talking about the Knicks, that game also kind of coming down to the fourth quarter. Same with this Boston game. In the last 2 fourth quarters, let me check my numbers. Oklahoma City has outscored the Knicks and Boston combined 66-31. Neither of those teams scored more than 20. The Knicks scored 19, Boston 12. It's been just back-to-back spankings in the fourth quarter for the Thunder. Like, they're nuts, man. They're
and it's
black.
I think that's a Mark stat.
Yeah. The context of those are 2 of the top 5 teams in the league.
2 really good teams.
We're 15 games straight. Just everything that's going on. You think special. This team
it is a special run. Yeah.
Wow.
And couldn't be coming at a better time either with this stretch
this is the
that they're
toughest
on.
stretch of the season.
Right.
Yeah. Which is crazy. I remember I was talking to our buddy Jake Geldy about it right before Christmas. And we were saying if we can be a couple games over 500 during this tough stretch, we'd be pretty happy. It's looking like that's going to be doable. Hopefully, knock on wood. So.
Getting off
I couldn't be
start.
happy with. I could not be more happy with the way they're playing. It's really
incredible stuff.
It's really coming together, man. And it's been fun.
How we were talking about with SGA, at the moment he's looking like the MVP. Another player that I think should be, getting pretty close to a lock for something is Lou Dort on an all defensive team.
Oh, yeah.
His stuff, as Thunder fans, we've been making that argument for the past few seasons. But this year especially, him on the other team's best scorer is it reminds me a lot of prime Tony Allen with the Grizzlies, where you could just stick him on a guy and it was they're going to score about 12 points fewer than their season average.
Yeah. Tony Allen used to do that to KD all the time.
Yeah. We've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. Tony Allen was good.
Yeah. Lou Dort.
Yeah. Lou is unbelievable.
One of the better on-ball defenders that, at least on the perimeter, that I've seen in a long time.
I really don't understand how he hasn't already been recognized in that way.
Right.
Because every year at the end of the year, they do that thing. All the guys are getting asked who the toughest, guy they don't want to be guarded by. And Lou's always at the top. I'm I just don't get it. And there's other good guys too, obviously, but
sure.
He's the best. I think you could make an argument he is the best. And he really hasn't been recognized for it yet, which is really weird.
Definitely.
But this will probably be the year. I mean, if we keep this up.
I would think so, especially without Chet, without us having Chet for most of the year. Because, I thought that it seemed like a pretty safe bet that he would wind up on an all-defensive team. And like somebody from our team, if our defense keeps up what they have been doing up to this
we should
point,
have 2.
Like
we should. It should
bare
be like
minimum
at the end of the year. Oh yeah. Well, if we keep this up, like we should get 2 just by the merit of like us being like generationally good. Because right now we are.
Yeah.
Like we're like so much like the margin by which we are better than the next best is so big. Like we should have 2. Like they should just pick somebody else. Like almost. It really should be Shea.
Yeah, I was gonna say could be Shea. Honestly,
it really should be Shea. Which that would be like some Michael Jordan stuff. Yeah, really.
That's
if big if and everything. Like he's gonna be first team All NBA in all likelihood. Again, knock on wood, and then first team All Defense too. That'd be insane.
I mean, that block on Tatum, like
that was so huge, dude.
Yeah.
And that was like 2 trips after he like hit that insane like step back
like
3.
Side
and it was
step
just
3, right?
Wet. Yeah, like nothing but splishy splash.
And
baby.
followed that block up with a nice little lob to iHeart for a poster.
Oh,
who
I wanted to.
By the way, iHeart has played in 20 games for the Thunder so far this season. Do y'all know the record in those 20 games?
I know how many games we've lost with him.
19-1.
If it wasn't for, wasn't it Fred Van Vliet's?
It was Fred Van Vliet's, prayer was answered. That was the game that me and you watched on playback, Anthony. Remember?
Yeah, that's the worst.
Oh my
so
god, that was so bad. It was fun though watching it on playback.
But like we didn't have Caruso today. We didn't have AJ. We didn't have Chet.
Yeah.
Like we're just gonna incorporate those guys. We get stronger, and then hopefully by the playoffs, it's just we're full strength. But we'll see.
And quick shout out AJ Mitchell, just a rookie, not been showing up on like rookie ladders, anything like that, but he has been so good for us lately. Like
unbelievable,
a perfect like backup lead ball handler for us. Like so good.
They don't do an all rookie second team, do they?
I think that they do.
I think
he should be a lot.
At least
for
they
that.
used to, but like
he really should be first team.
If we're
based on how he's contributing to a team as good as he is.
I was gonna say, looking at impact, like he's got a strong argument, but his
numbers are pretty good. Like his numbers are pretty good.
Like the rookies on those real bad teams, they get a lot more freedom.
He's not gonna have the best numbers.
Bigger numbers, stuff like that, sure.
For sure.
But he's
also
awesome,
on that play on the Hartenstein lob, that was kind of dirty. Derek White,
he definitely pulled him down.
Frustrated. Yeah, but it was. Did you see? Were they showing like the replay in the stadium?
Yes, and they were like, because that's what they were reviewing for the flagrant, wasn't it?
He's going to say they were reviewing it for a flagrant.
That's what they reviewed for a flagrant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right. I was thinking maybe they were reviewing for like Hardenstein like landing on him like on purpose.
Yeah,
but
he fouled him before the pull down thing, so he fouled him. But then after that it was kind of dirty. Like in real time, it didn't look bad, but on the replay, I was like, "Ooh, yeah, he kind of."
We were saying the exact same thing over here, just like he's just frustrated. Like that's embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, he was 2 of 11 from 3. I think he was like 4-13 from the field or something like that.
Yeah, 4-13.
So, I mean, I get it, but I mean, Hartenstein told him about it too, and I was like, yeah, he's right.
Yeah, like what was who was initiating the scuffle like afterwards?
It wasn't really anything major. Hartenstein just kind of told him. It was basically like it looked like he was just saying like that's not cool. Like
like it was Hartenstein who kind of like went and found Derek White after the play, but he wasn't like what you want.
Hartenstein has shown he's not afraid to do that. He'll get after you.
He's tough, man. A dog.
I love him. I know every time we talk about the Thunder, because like Shea, it's to the point with Shea where it's just like, really, what more can you say?
Mm-hmm.
But like every time we've talked about it, Hartenstein has been the guy. Like I love him. I love the way he plays. I love what he adds to our team. I love him. I'm a huge fan of his.
Well, I mean, last year, he was coming off the bench for the Knicks And so
And
far,
I watched a lot of the Knicks. Yeah.
and he was good, but this year he's
good.
like top 10 center conversations. And I think, having watched him a lot, like I think he's pretty firmly in that group.
Oh yeah. I mean, I certainly think so. I watched a lot of him last year in New York, and like I didn't think he was going to be this good. Like I thought he'd be about kind of what he was in New York. I think he's way better than he was last year.
Well, I mean,
good. Like last year he was good.
Like a handful of days ago, Rhett, me and you were talking about like where does he rank in centers for passing? And I think like at worst he's probably third.
I was going to say he's certainly top 5.
The two names that I was saying was Jokic is clearly a better passer.
Yeah, of course.
And then I also had Sabonis. I think Sabonis is like, a decent bit, at least more productive in terms of passing.
Yeah, he just has the ball in his hands way more.
Yeah. But
I don't know. I think there could be an argument between Hartenstein and Sabonis.
But yeah.
Does Şengün count? Şengün's pretty good.
I think you count him as a center. I agree. Like he's pretty good, but
I'd put Hartenstein ahead of him for sure.
He's definitely like a flashier passer, like more of a creative passer than Hartenstein.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's another name to have pretty high up there.
Yeah.
Maybe Chet Holmgren.
When he comes back, he better not be passing.
Don't pass.
We need him to shoot and score. Pretty bad. He's going to make things so much easier if he can score at any kind of real level,
Oh, my goodness, yeah. And like, we
don't need him to be a passer. That's like the last thing I want.
Yeah. Just block some shots.
Yeah.
Score some buckets.
Play defense and shoot it and try to score.
Do some big-time flexes. Chet's been he's kind of losing me with some courtside drip lately a little bit.
His fits have been crazy.
Yeah.
He's got like the biggest shirts like of all time.
I
thought they're huge.
It's got to be 5X.
Yeah, but he's like 7'2" or whatever it is, and like just imagine like pulling that off the rack, like what does it look like? Ginormous.
I'd be like wearing a pretty form-fitting dress if I was to put on one of those shirts.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, well that's the game today. So Ant, I think we have time. You want to talk about anything else around the league?
I'm not going to go into like the full like standings, but I think it was a couple nights ago when like the 2 seed, the 3 seed, the 4 seed, the 5 seed, like in the West, all lost. Everyone in the West except for the Thunder has just been they've lost at least 3 out of the last 10.
It's hard because all those teams are good, I think. Do you agree with me on that, Ant? Because we had some discussion on that.
Well, yeah, we're discussing like we agree that it's like, a quote unquote bloodbath where like all the good teams are beating up on each other, like kind of like, SEC football in the past. But I don't know the way I see the tiers now, it's like Thunder Cavs tier 1, Celtics Knicks tier 2. Everyone else, I'm just throwing into tier 3.
No, I think that's accurate. But like, if you look at, I'm only really thinking about the West right now. If you look at the West, the 6th through the 2nd seed are separated by a game and a half right now.
Yeah, I told someone yesterday the Lakers are the 4 seed, and he's like, no, they're not. I'm like, yeah, actually they are, but
yeah, they are.
They're 2.5 games from being 10th place.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they are. They are. Like I think, like I'm thinking of like Rockets, Grizzlies. I think those two teams are pretty good. Like when they're all fully, like I know we kind of beat the Grizzlies pretty convincingly, but like they didn't have Ja, and I do think that makes a big difference.
Sure.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, I think we're the best team in the West.
Oh.
I don't think that's a hot take.
I got a little stat I'm looking at right here about that with the standings. The same difference between the 1st and the 2 seeds, so the Thunder and the Rockets, is 7.5 games, which is basically the same between the 2 and the 12 in the West.
Yeah.
It's 6 or Yeah, 6.5 instead of 7.5. But it's hard to do the math with those half games and stuff.
Oh yeah, me too. I don't know how to keep up with those half games.
I'll just wait till everybody hits 82, I guess.
I had something I wanted to say, but I forgot what it was. I do want to say I think Dallas is like in 6th right now, and they're kind of struggling, obviously. But if Luka comes back healthy, like I still think they're going to also be really good. So like for me, I think for me it's still like Grizzlies, Rockets, healthy Mavs, and then like right below those teams is Denver. Minnesota, I'm kind of out. Like I don't think that's going to work this year.
Sitting at 500, almost 35 games into the year is like,
yeah, it's kind of getting to the point where it's like you're not really going to come back from that. I mean, they'll probably they'll be in the play-in at least.
Sure, yeah. I don't think they're missing altogether.
No.
Yeah, I was having a conversation the other night. I was watching a Timberwolves game. I'm not sure who they were playing. It may have just been the Thunder. But I brought up the argument of like, if Julius Randle scores 30 on the Thunder, like I'm happy with it for the Thunder.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, if he's scoring 30, he's like 25 to 30 shots in that game.
Yeah, well, and he's taking those shots away from the good player.
Yeah,
of course,
right.
Like, and I'm not. I'd try to give Julius the benefit of the doubt. Like he's a talented player, but he's obviously not the best player on that team, and he can certainly shoot you out of games. He's done it a lot.
Anthony Edwards, last night I think had like 53.
Yeah,
after like the game after he was whining about getting double teamed, like not wanting to be a passer. That's how you beat them. Make him a passer.
Yeah,
that's what happened last year in the playoffs with him too.
It was easy for Dallas because Dallas, when we played them, they had a really great strategy against us. It was almost it wasn't probably as easy on them as it was playing the Wolves, but it was just like let Giddey shoot or let whoever shoot it, and just don't let Shea beat you.
Yeah, just don't let him.
And it's way easier to do something like that against Minnesota.
Sure. And last year in the playoffs, against that Mavs game plan, which I do completely agree, like super good game plan, really effective.
It was well coached. Yeah.
But like Shea, looking at the numbers, was still the player who he is. It was just, like you were saying, those other guys weren't able to step up like we were talking about at the start of the episode. But yeah, I don't know. I think especially not to be a Giddey hater or anything. As soon as we got him out, it's at worst like 4 pretty solid shooters on the court anytime that Shea's out there.
Yeah, Caruso so far has been a real liability shooting. So, but it's like it's really, if you look at it, it's kind of like we just like got rid of Giddey like for nothing, because Caruso's missed. It hasn't been a ton of games, but like as of late, he's missed a lot of games.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just been like we've been playing the guys like we had, and I do think Kaysen in particular like got a lot better.
Yeah, no, he looks awesome. But Caruso, when he is playing, that defense has lived up.
Oh yeah,
to the hype
I love having him out there.
Yeah, it's great.
He's great.
I have a unrelated question about another team. Anthony, you just brought them up, put them into your tier 1.
Yeah.
The Cavaliers are still just like red hot. They're 30-4 at the time that we're recording this. Like, it seems I
feel like people kind of got tired of talking about them.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, you don't hear about them as much as like Boston or the Knicks, like we were saying. But
yeah, it's strange.
I think they are like undoubtedly like a real contender.
I agree.
Like 30.
I don't understand why you wouldn't.
Yeah, 30-4 is way too good to kind of think it's
just
like a regular season thing.
It's not a fluke. No. Yeah, it's not a fluke. No, it's not. They really got it all. They got we always talk about like that high level talent. Like you got to have a guy. Mm-hmm. Donovan Mitchell is a guy.
Yeah,
like he's really good.
They got a guy,
and then they're big and long. They play great defense. They move the ball really well, and they have shooters.
Mm-hmm.
that's the recipe. I mean, they can beat anybody, really, if they're on.
I think that they're going to wind up with 2 All-Stars this year, in Donovan Mitchell and Mobley. It's not like an everyday type of thing, but Mobley's offense, I think, is much more consistent. Like, they use him a lot more as an offensive weapon, which, I still don't really think that's the name of his game. But just kind of him gaining that comfort, being more reliable as a go-to guy. I think that that's kind of changed everything for Cleveland.
Yeah, he's been a lot better this year. He's been really good, Mobley. Yeah. They're real smart with him. Atkinson's really, he's really good. I mean, obviously, they're really good. But he's a good coach because he's put Mobley in it's not like he's really asking Mobley so much to, totally change his game on offense. It's just he's more intentional and smarter about, how he's using him and where he's getting his opportunities and stuff, which has, really helped out. And Mobley has got better, but, he's also – being coached. He's on a team that's being coached really well right now, I think.
And that was a big thing for Atkinson before the year. They were like, what are you looking to change about this offense? He's like, Evan Mobley. We're going to use Evan Mobley more.
Involved. Yeah. Well, wisely, because that's kind of the guy. They got a lot of stuff tied up in Mobley, obviously. So
sure.
Good, smart on him to kind of make that work,
Definitely.
Anything else, Ant?
No, not now.
Around the league.
The thing we'll just have to look for in future weeks is the trade deadline on the 6th of February.
I wanted to ask you about the Jimmy Butler thing.
What teams are going to go, make a big move, and what team is going to get Jimmy? If y'all can predict one team you think will go for Jimmy.
I am going to say, I haven't really plugged anything into the trade machine, anything like that. One team that I think I have a team that I think would probably be one of the better fits to get him. And then one that I think would just be the funniest, my favorite outcome for it. The more serious one, I think, is the Grizzlies. I'm not sure.
I was going to say Memphis.
Yeah. I'm not sure, what the package would look like, how many picks they need to attach to it, that kind of stuff. But I think that he would fit, really well with kind of their culture that they have there. They could, like we were saying, use a little bit of an offensive punch, which, fingers crossed that bringing him in would help with that. But the team that I think would be the funniest to see him go to would be the Minnesota Timberwolves. Much different kind of setting that's happening there, but I think they could use a pretty decent size shakeup with kind of, who the go-to guys are, that type of thing. Another two-way good wing out there to play with Anthony Edwards. I don't think it's super realistic, obviously, but I think that it, low key, could be a pretty good fit.
Okay, well, since you said, I've got another funny one. Sacramento. I don't know how they could do it or anything, but
yeah,
I don't that would just make no sense. I think they could do it in theory, but I don't know why either team would do that.
Yeah.
That'd just be kind of funny.
Do you think it would be kind of last ditch effort to keep Fox interested? Bringing
maybe, or he's
that?
Involved. In a multi-team deal,
Yeah.
I could see Fox being open to the idea of playing in Miami.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be a straight up swap. Miami would have to find a way to get some other stuff involved because, in my opinion, Fox is astronomically more valuable than Jimmy.
I agree.
I do agree with the Memphis though in terms of a good fit. I think there are other teams that are good fits too. Dallas is one I've heard. I don't think that really makes sense to me. If I'm Dallas after the run you just had, I kind of want to like not give up a ton of stuff
Sure.
to do something like that, especially after you just signed Clay and like you haven't really been healthy and you don't really know all the way like how that works.
And they added all those other kind of new look defensive perimeter oriented guys anyway. So
yeah, you like Najee, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I don't think it would really change a ton other than kind of taking the ball out of Kyrie and Luka's hands.
Which is like not what you want to do, of course.
No.
So I'm gonna nix the Dallas thing. I think Golden State, like I don't know what it would take. I mean, you'd probably have to trade Kuminga. I don't know. I mean, I would think about it. But it's just like, because you're going to have to sign Jimmy to a new deal, right? Isn't this the last year of his contract?
I know it's coming up pretty soon.
It's kind of sticky because it's like if Steph wants it done and you're going to get 3 more years out of Steph or whatever it is, then you do it.
I mean, rumors floating around that Kuminga's ready to go somewhere else anyway, right?
Oh man, if I was him, I would be. So, Kerr's cost him a lot of money already, and he will do it again. If he gets a chance. So, yeah, if I was Kuminga, I would have been asking out of there a long time ago.
Do you got a team, Anthony? Got an idea?
No, I mean, y'all named like almost every team in the West. It's like because
I do think there's going to be a lot of interest.
Like, yeah, like what team is like all these front offices are discussing it. Everyone except the Thunder, of course. Like, what can we do to make that jump? Because they're probably thinking like, yeah, if we can get the Thunder, who haven't been to the conference finals yet, like we need a veteran, and we can take them if we get Jimmy. But the Warriors, that's interesting because I'll never count out the Warriors when they got Steph. I watched them last night.
I agree.
They beat the Grizz without Steph, but they got good pieces. Like if you have Steph, you have a chance.
You're right,
but Grizzlies would be. I never thought about the Grizzlies doing that because I feel like they don't want to. Like you talked about giving that offensive punch, like they're already the highest scoring team in the league. And it's like, do you want to mess up that chemistry? Not everyone's healthy, and it's going to be interesting. But someone will take them.
I would guess that Memphis would have to include like a Desmond Bane, something like that.
They'd have to give Bane,
and like I don't know to
make the money work. I think
I don't know how interested they would be in that. One last team that I've, kind of seen some buzz about are the Suns. And
that'd be such a huge mistake.
Well, the biggest thing that I've seen that, kind of makes me think like, I don't really think they would do that is Bradley Beal would have to waive his no trade clause. And like, maybe he'd want to go to Miami, who knows? But like, I would think he would want to stay on, a semi-competitive team. At this point in his career, like just pray for like a first round upset.
I can't
something like that.
No trade clause.
Oh
That's
man,
so insane.
How quickly times change, man. He used to be so good.
No, he was good, but still, that is stupid. That's stupid. That's the only one that's like ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's so stupid.
But yeah, I don't know. This trade deadline is going to be weird. Like, I kind of feel like there's going to be a lot of, semi-competitive teams looking to make a big piece, but like how many, super high value trades are going to be out there that they could even take advantage of?
Well, somebody's going to trade for Cam Johnson too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we should be talking about that one more. To really
I'm kind of down for that. Yeah.
But,
I mean, I'm also down if we don't do anything at all at the deadline, but I'm kind of down for Cam.
I have mixed feelings about it. It's like
you've been lower on it, Jace, than most people I've talked to.
Yeah. And like I like him a lot. I think he's a really good player, really valuable. But for the Thunder specifically, like 30-5, sure, Wiggins and Joe, who are typically, two of the biggest names brought up in deals like that. Even if they're not the most consistent weapons, like we were hoping for them to be, I don't know if I would be willing to run that risk of kind of shaking up the chemistry, that kind of stuff, shifting roles around, all of that. I definitely can see the upside, a good positional size, wing, two-way player, pretty big-time knockdown shooter. It's easy to kind of recognize how the fit would be beneficial, but all things considered, I don't know. I am a little iffy on the Thunder mixing things up.
Yeah, I'm just mostly concerned with like the financial ramifications of it long term.
Sure.
But yeah, man, hearing you say that, I think that's like really valid. Like, I'm kind of like happy also to just like ride it out because man, I love this team,
and
I think
like
we're really, really good.
Keeping in mind, we've got players like Caruso and primarily Chet coming back. Like, who knows what they could look like bringing Chet back if he's like halfway healthy?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's wishful thinking.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of looking forward to it, honestly, because I'm not in a position kind of like I was last year where I'm like, I feel like we kind of need to do something. Like, we're close, but like we kind of need to do something. Like, I'm kind of like, whatever they do, I'll rock with it because it's going pretty good right now. So I'm going to just like trust it. I'm not that worried about it.
No complaints.
Either way, really.
The only reason I really want Cam is like just so no one else gets him.
That's also
I'm just like, okay, just do what you're doing, and we're on a collision course with the Mavs, the Cavs, Celtics, and Grizzlies. But like, that's like what I have my eyes set on, 5 months from now.
Yeah.
So
I
just don't want him going to one of those teams that like, they just have Cam Johnson coming off the bench, and why don't we get him and put him on our bench?
I don't think they could. I don't think the Grizzlies maybe could, but the Mavericks or the Celtics and the Cavs, they couldn't trade for him even if they wanted to. I don't think. It's going to take like multiple picks.
If I was the Celtics, I would not do a thing.
No, they're not.
Yeah, I just feel like
they might do something on like the very fringe, but no, they're not gonna.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, anything else in it, or shall we mosey on over to the mock? I know you're excited about this, Jace.
I am excited. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do the mock. So I don't think I can like share my screen, but I will do a tankathon sim.
No cheating.
No cheating. Let me see if I can. No, I don't think I can. Okay, and I guess I'll just kind of like read it off on the teams as we go. So, let me see if I can. Should I do like an randomizer to like see who goes first?
That works for me, unless one of y'all would like to go
typing it in
first.
now. Okay, so I will randomize. Okay, so it'll be Anthony with the number 1 pick.
Sweet.
It'll be Jace with the number 2 pick and Rhett with the number 3. And then I guess we'll snake it for the lottery.
That works for me. I'm good to do that or just go in order. Whatever.
Okay, so we're going to assume the lottery now. And we're only going to be doing the lottery, so the first 14 picks. So here we go with Sim. All right. Anthony, you are going to be on the clock. And it's the Washington Wizards with the first overall pick.
Those lucky Wizards. I mean, the number 1 pick, I think, regardless of what team it is, you got to go Cooper Flag from Duke.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I can't really talk about, like, is he a good fit in Washington? Like, Washington just needs anyone. Like, they're terrible. So, I don't know. Y'all think that's a good fit? Does he change the culture? Does he make them a winning franchise?
Short answer to the winning franchise question, I'm going to still say no.
I'm going to say no.
But I would love to see him
huge help.
Go to Washington because, like, I think they've got the point guard of the future, Bub Carrington, and then pairing up on the interior, Sar and Flag, like 2 real high-level defenders, super switchable, good size, both really productive shot blockers. I think that would be a super beneficial fit for Cooper Flag and for the Wizards. Wonderful selection, man.
You didn't mention Bilal.
Oh, and Bilal. Yeah.
They're putting together a pretty good, like, interesting defensive
really
five
good
there if they take Flag.
Young core.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that they got Sar last year. Like, putting him and Flag together, like,
could be interesting.
Yeah, that they would be pretty interesting. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Who's number 2?
Okay, Jace is picking number 2, and it is Toronto Raptors.
Okay. Well, for me, I think this is a pretty easy pick for the Raptors. I'm going to go with Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. I
wanted him at
late push or I guess not late, but pretty recent push for those number one conversations. Super good size for a lead guard, super patient. He can score from everywhere. I think I have 2 like pretty interesting comps for Dylan Harper. Obviously, not spot on projections, that type of stuff, but the 2 kind of high end comps that I have for him are a bigger Jalen Brunson and a little bit less, change of speed type to SGA. He's got like awesome footwork. He can shoot it. But yeah, he's got real high end upside, real legit potential. I still have him number 2 on my personal board. But him and Flag, I think, are like the top 2, regardless of how that plays out.
And I think, Jace, you would obviously know better than I would, but like I think it's a little closer than people thought it was going to be now with him and with Harper and Flag, right?
It's closer than I projected. I don't kind of look at them under the same microscope. Like Cooper Flag is like change your defense altogether, just himself, basically. And Harper, I think, is the best offensive prospect in this class. So it's kind of, more kind of, like where you're putting your value in young players type of thing.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that brings me up at 3. So this is the Charlotte Hornets at 3. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor.
Very nice.
There's a couple of guys. This is for me, Jace, where it kind of starts getting close.
Sure.
And again, it looks like you may not agree with that, but a guy that I'm sure we're going to mention here very shortly, and VJ, it's like pretty close for me. But for the Hornets, I just pulled up their roster really quick, and obviously LaMelo Ball, right? Mm-hmm. Miles Bridges, who I think they still like. I'm not a fan myself, but whatever. And then Brandon Miller is kind of the second guy. And Miller he kind of plays that 3 for him, like a 2-3. I see VJ Edgecombe as more of like an NBA 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Less forward, more guard, Mm-hmm. And just like the athleticism, and really what I like about him is just like the potential on defense that you've noted here on the doc, Jace. Mm-hmm. That's kind of, I think that's something they kind of need, just a little bit of like, get a guy in there that can just bring a little bit of juice and kind of get those guys excited about defense again. Yeah. Could help, the rest of the roster. Because obviously they have a ton of athletes, a ton of long guys and, interesting prospect type players. But yeah, VJ, I could see them liking him and taking a chance on him. Or not even taking a chance, but snagging him at 3.
If I could chime in here with this, even before this basketball season started, I thought that Charlotte was the best fit for VJ. Nice. Kind of for what you were saying, like the defensive stuff. He's not going to be asked to do too much scoring, most of that being placed on LaMelo and Brandon Miller. But yeah, no, I think that that's another great fit. And, he looked awesome flying around in that Hornets blue.
Yeah, agreed. Great
Added
uniforms.
plus.
Blue,
Okay,
teal,
well,
greenish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blue, teal, greenish. Let's start it over so that y'all have more picks. So, Ant, this will be you again at 4. And
Okay.
guess who we have here? The Philadelphia 76ers.
Ooh.
At 4.
Oh, and it doesn't get sent
man.
to OKC, right? Because it's top.
No,
it's
so
protected?
it goes to Philly. It's top 6 protected. I
Yeah.
think.
Top 6 or 7.
Yeah,
no, I
it's
think
top
it is
6
6.
protected.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 6.
Interesting.
Bummer, man. Bummer.
Bummer for the Thunder, but for the Sixers, their prize for missing the playoffs. I've been researching this guy Kasparis. Jonas. Am I pronouncing that right?
Oh yeah,
Jacuzionis.
I missed my
Jacuzzi?
pronunciation on that one. That's a big one. Yeah.
Nah, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but this would be the first international guy, even though he plays at Illinois.
Right.
But
Yeah, the
first
other guys
off
that
the
we've
board.
talked about are American kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone.
Sick, and I love it. I love that pick.
I think anyone in the league would take a 6'6", 200-pound guard that could shoot.
Like initiator, yeah. No,
Good passer too.
that is an interesting 1-2 combo, because I would guess he would kind of take over more of the primary initiator stuff eventually.
Maxey would go to 2.
Yeah,
which I love.
Yeah, I think would be a better fit for Maxey. And like you were saying, Anthony, better size for a lead guard there could help. He's not too much of a defender, but definitely a higher upside, I think, to cover, bigger guards than Maxey has. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's good.
Yeah, good pick, Ant. I like it too. Okay, so Jace, this will be you at 5, and this is New Orleans Pelicans at 5.
Okay. That's interesting. The Pelicans. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go Trey Johnson to the Pelicans.
You'd love Trey.
I am
You've talked a lot about him.
a very big fan of Trey Johnson. Not a perfect prospect for kind of what he does, what he is. He's going to need to get better at driving the ball at Texas ahead of the draft. But his shooting, potentially serving as like a secondary creator for them, one of the higher offensive upsides. And it came down to 2 players. I won't give away the 2 players. I'm sure that you guys know who it is. But they have a handful, of good sized wings that can kind of play both ways. But I think for the Pelicans at the moment, banking on Trey Johnson, bringing in another shooter, a smarter basketball player, I think could really help the Pelicans. And that kind of the basketball IQ was what led me to take him over the other guy, the other mystery player that I was between. So yeah, give me Trey Johnson to the Birds.
You're not going to have to hold your breath on said mystery player for much longer because this will be me at 6, and this is Utah, and Utah will be ecstatic here, and they will run to the podium to take Ace Bailey from Rutgers, obviously. Dylan Harper's fellow Rutgers freshman teammate. Obviously, Ace Bailey's been a really popular name. He's a really good athlete, big, long guy, tough shot taker, maker. Yeah, I'm not I've kind of been lower on him than some people just because he's not. I haven't watched a ton of him to be totally honest, but what I have seen, he's not always generating great advantages. But like I said, he can hit some tough shots. Just really physically gifted with his size, and he's a really good athlete, good shooter. You wrote here, Jace, Michael Porter Jr. comp.
Yeah.
I prefer that one to the Jabari.
Sure.
Because Jabari coming out was I think I would say a little bit better defensive prospect than Ace is, at least to this point.
I would agree.
Yeah. Whereas in terms of what Michael Porter Jr. does in the NBA now, like I could really see Ace fitting that kind of role, like dynamic catch and shoot player, athlete. I do also think he could be a good defender, like serviceable to good defender in the NBA. Is that kind of what you think, Jace?
Yeah, like pretty high upside, but I don't think that that's like a safe bet to make for him at the moment.
It's certainly not his game at the moment. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think Utah would be ecstatic if they got Ace Bailey at 6.
Hey, one
good.
other thing with the Michael Porter Jr. comp, Michael Porter Jr. like does not pass either. Like he doesn't pass.
Yeah.
Ace Bailey doesn't pass. So it's could go hand in hand.
Cool. Love it. Yeah. Okay. So that's Utah. All right, Ant. So it'll be back to you at 7. And this will be the Portland Trailblazers at 7.
Well, the guy I want to pick is a guard from the University of Oklahoma. But now that I think of...
I think I know what he's going to do. He kind of cut out for a second, but he'll be
back.
back.
Did I cut out?
Yeah,
My
keep
bad.
going, though.
I said, I really want to pick this guard from Oklahoma. But now that it's the Blazers, I don't know if they really need a Jeremiah Fears type of guard, but I'll
They've
pick
got to
him
be
anyway.
hitting reset on the Scoot experience, right? Are you going to take him? Are you going to take Fears?
I'm going to pick him anyway. Yep.
Do it.
Was it 18,
all right.
18 years old?
Barely. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't turn 19.
The killer
for a
baby.
while.
Have y'all heard that call? I think it was on OU radio. They were talking about Fears and they called him the killer baby.
Dang.
Yeah, I was
That's
like,
good. Fitting.
Yeah. I love that pick, Ant.
Thank you. I wore I got a Jumpman headband from Dick's, and I wore it upside down to hoop today.
Yeah. Classic, man.
I bet you balled out too.
Nah, I shot 5 times, made 3. That's over 50%.
It's good at 60. Yeah.
What I'll say about Fear, baby killer, that's funny. He kind of reminds me, you remember, you guys watch Russell Westbrook highlights when he's at UCLA? He looks so young, just like a baby.
Yeah.
He does
I
kind
don't
of
know.
look like how Russ looked at UCLA.
Fears kind of gives that. I don't think he's as athletic. He's got work to do with shooting, turnovers, and all that. But he's had a great start to the year. And,
Sure.
if he can keep this up against the level of competition that OU has to face, then yeah, I don't think it'll be too crazy to have him in the top 10.
Not at all. He's definitely got a chance.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that's crazy.
Anthony, I thought you may have liked, for him, one of my comps that I did. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Deloading.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anthony's like as a personal relationship with deloading, kind of.
I did run into deloading at a hotel, and it was right after they traded for Gobert. And I was like, man, the T-Wolves are going to be good. Hey, by the way, no, I did say, I went to high school with Trae Young. And I was like, can I get a picture? And he's like, no. But shout out deloading.
He was nice though. Wasn't
Yeah,
he?
no, he wasn't a jerk.
He had like some reason why he couldn't like do the photo or something.
Yeah, because he
Or
was
didn't want to
like,
do
he
the
was
photo.
in his group with like his girl, and then like I think
Some of
they
his
were
buddies
with
or
they were
whatever.
with another couple, and no, it makes sense. But that's an interesting comparison. He's not Fears isn't a lefty.
No.
But any lefty, it's easy to compare to deloading and Harden.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree with size and everything. Yeah,
Both shifty guys.
I like it. Okay, so that's Fears to Portland at 7. So Jace, this will be you, and this will be Brooklyn at 8. I'm interested to see who you take here because Brooklyn, it's kind of you have your pick of the litter, really.
Yeah.
Use it all.
I think if I were Brooklyn, I would be trying to ride out the highest upside.
Yeah,
And
I
so
agree.
for that, I am going to go with a guy who has kind of dipped a little bit lately. He's still coming back from an injury, trying to get back into form, but Jaeger Dimon, 6'9" point guard ish out of BYU. He's a Russian prospect, but like whenever he was healthy before his injury this year, which I don't think is going to be a real lingering thing, like one of the better table setters in the whole country. He has a very unique skill for a player of his size, how well he's able to, handle the ball, especially in traffic. In terms of like creating his own shot, that still is a little ways off. But the offensive upside, nonetheless, I think is pretty remarkable. There are certain teams, like maybe if Brooklyn was in the top 5, I would have still taken him there. But yeah, give me Dimon. It's, not a super safe bet, but I'm a huge fan. I think he's a stud. If the scoring can improve and they can find a way, to use him pretty effectively on defense, which is not going to be an easy thing to do, I don't think. I think he could end up being one of the better players from this whole draft.
Nice. Okay, sick. Okay, so you've left me. So this is me again. This is 9. So this is Phoenix, but it's going to Houston. So this will technically be Houston picking at 9 if it works out this way. So I think what I'm going to do is Common Malawak.
I like it.
At 9.
Big man.
You took mine.
Yeah. So I it was between another guy that I'm sure we're going to talk about here in a second. It was kind of tough for me to pick because I don't know. I feel like after the Reed pick last year and like him not really playing, like I kind of feel like with I'm blanking on his name, but the coach Ime it kind of like he wants to play a defense first brand of ball. Like that's what they were so successful with in Boston, and he's really improved the defense in Houston too. Just the infrastructure isn't all the way there roster wise. Sure. Like that roster in Boston was so good because it was built the way he wanted it, et cetera, et cetera. And I've watched Malawak play a couple of times and I really love him. Like big, long guy. And I definitely buy like the rim protection, like projecting to the pros. So I think if that goes like the way it looks to me right now, like that'll be a good pick at 9 and he'll be a good pro for a long time.
Sure.
Plus there's upside in other aspects of his game too. So like if
100%.
any of that works out, it's kind of like an added bonus.
Do you, I don't know if you really have an opinion on this, but do you buy the jump shot getting better?
So it's hard for me with guys like that. Like I wouldn't bet on that if I was picking him.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was kind of like when I was thinking about Lively in that draft.
Sure.
Like I even taking into consideration like the that the jump shot, like I just tried not to really think about it. It's kind of like if that happens, it's an added bonus.
Yeah.
Like really, I didn't think that was going to be like Chet's. Like I didn't think he'd be as good as he has been.
Sure.
In that regard, like with big guys, unless they're really doing it at a high clip in college, it's not really something I think about. So I guess to answer your question with Malawak, I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah.
But it's certainly possible. The mechanics look pretty decent from what I've seen.
Yeah.
But, who knows? I think even if he doesn't do that, he's a good player still.
Sure.
Cool. Okay, so that was Houston. Houston at 9. So this will be Anthony. Oh, the Chicago Bulls at 10.
Who's at 10?
Chicago Bulls.
Chicago Bulls. Chicago to pair with Josh Giddey.
Chicago.
And Lonzo Ball, which shout out. We haven't talked about LiAngelo Ball yet.
That track is so hard.
It is hard.
We talked about all the Ball brothers.
What's up?
Oh, did I cut out?
Sorry, yeah, I think I froze, but talk about LiAngelo's song.
Yeah, no, I just said it's hard.
Yeah, man. And apparently he's got another one on the way. According to Zoe, he's got another one this Friday.
Yeah, he needs to strike while the iron is hot.
We're ready.
Certainly.
NBA locker rooms are ready. But to send to Chicago, I'm a fan of Con Knuppel.
Okay, adding a little shooting.
Knuppel.
Am I frozen?
I like that one, Anthony. I can hear you.
Oh, so you heard it.
You're kind of going crazy. You're kind of going like way down the list here, my brother. According to Jace's mock draft.
Yeah, he's very low on Jace's, but Jace, maybe you can explain.
Low. Yeah.
No, he's not. No.
Because he's had some off games.
So on my little list that we're talking about, I had Con number 20, which I only did put 20 names on here. But like, if I may, Anthony, may I?
Yeah, no, he wants you to.
Okay, cool. I think Knuppel is like maybe potentially like the best 3-point shooter in this draft. He's also like a really good connective playmaker. Not ever going to be, like the primary initiator, put the ball in his hands and like go make a play. But like he has a super clear role that he can translate really well into at the NBA.
Well, in a role that's needed in Chicago.
Right. Yeah. So adding a shooter like that, I think is about as perfect as you could get for the Bulls right now. If you're not,
he's got the size, like
superstar guy. Yeah.
Anyone in the NBA is looking for a tall wing that can shoot and play defense. Like everyone wants it. So yeah, he's got the size. Just keep shooting, keep getting better at that, and play defense, and he's gonna make a lot of money in the league.
That's the question for me with him, is just like the athleticism and the defense. I'm not sure he's going to be able to be like positive defensive player, but like you said, he certainly has the size. So it may not be conventional in terms of what you think about in terms of the 3-and-D guy, but if he can put it together on that end, be a really, really good player, I think.
Sure.
Cool. Well, yeah, that's a really good explanation, Jace. So thanks for contributing that. Okay, so it will be back to you, Jace. So that was Chicago at 10. So this is Sacramento at 11.
Ooh, Sacramento. Okay. Got it. I am going to take Asa Newell out of Georgia. Really mobile, really athletic. I think probably more of a 4. So sliding him in there next to Sabonis could work really well. He's looked like pretty much good to go defensively this year, to me at least. And kind of on the other hand that we were talking about with Malawak a little bit ago, Rhett, I do really buy his 3-point shooting. It's been, pretty up and down throughout the start of the season, but it is looking a lot better as of late. I think the form looks good. So yeah, I think his offensive upside could, end up, depending on how conference play goes, all of that, blah, blah, blah. I think he's got a shot to like wind up in the top 5 potentially.
Yeah. Well, that's the guy I was considering, Jace, when I was talking about Malawak.
Yeah.
It was between Newell and Malawak. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
But yeah,
So you would guess that Newell is the better 3-point shooter out of the two as a pro?
Yeah, I feel at the moment, and things can change, I feel like pretty confident in that. He has shot like a lot of air balls this year, which, doesn't really mean anything. It's just kind of funny.
You miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A miss is a miss.
Yeah. I love the upside for him. A lot of two-way potential. I don't think he's got a ton of like self-creation stuff, but really good play finisher, really versatile defender, a lot of super interesting physical tools that, if he doesn't go in the top 10, whatever. If he goes in the top 5, like not super surprised at that either.
Cool. Okay, so this is back to me, and this is 12. Okay, so that works out. So y'all will both have one more pick.
Go.
So there's two more teams in the lottery after this. So this is Detroit at 12.
While you think about it, I'll touch on the Pistons. Very much more improved.
Touch on what?
Already got more wins than they did last year. And Cade
Who?
looking like he's all.
Detroit?
Yeah.
He could be.
Yeah, no,
he really may be.
Well, yeah, they're much better, certainly. Yeah, okay, so I think what I'm going to do here is Derek Queen. He's kind of a tweener kind of guy, really. Like, is he a center, Jace, or is he a 4?
A lot of people have made the argument that he can be a center, but I really don't think so.
I don't think he's big enough, right? Like tall enough?
Not really tall enough. Not a great rim protector. I think it kind of comes down, he could play like small ball 5 for people, but I look at him pretty much like solely as a 4 personally.
Yeah. So, I like him. Like, I think he's a big body guy, obviously. I think he's a really good passer from the stuff you've shown me, Jace.
Yeah.
Just seems like a really smart player.
Mm-hmm.
And Detroit has kind of shown they've been willing to play with sort of like unconventional guys on the interior. Like I'm thinking of Beef Stew primarily. Like he doesn't really fit the mold of like the modern NBA interior player, but he's he's not been terrible, Isaiah Stewart, with them. So like I kind of think they can make that work potentially. So yeah, I think Derek Queen to Detroit at 12 there.
I like it.
Okay, sorry. So who's next? Anthony. Ooh. So it's Minnesota, but it goes to Utah. So it'll be Utah.
You got Utah?
Utah.
Yes.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I can now.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll do my pick quick then before I cut out again. But I got Colin Murray Boyles.
CMB. First non-freshman
CMB.
for us here.
Yes. Who could give Shea a run for his money on last name length on the back of the jersey.
That's true.
I like what Jace put, Draymond Light.
Ooh, I do like the sound of that.
Like that's another, like I was talking about Knuppel, like that's kind of like what every team could use a Draymond. But yeah, older, 6'7", so he's not as tall as Queen, but just kind of a dog.
He is a dog.
Love it.
And putting Draymond Light, I don't think that's like the perfect, kind of summary of his game. He's just like such a unique player. Like Draymond Green coming in, he didn't really have like, a clear fit of like how he was going to be used. But yeah, he does a lot of the same stuff, like super aggressive, super switchable defender, really good rebounder. The offensive game is kind of meh, but they've more so this year than last year. South Carolina's run a lot more kind of connective playmaking stuff with him out of the high post that I think is really good and could be, one of the biggest ways that he's used offensively in the NBA. But yeah, I think that's another really good pick. And
but that's an issue.
Balling it.
Thanks. That's an issue though if you can't shoot. Like I'm kind of against drafting guys that can't shoot. Like I don't know. I mean, there's development, of course.
I just think it
but
depends.
it's a risk.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you see them it is certainly a risk, but I mean, you don't need like all your guys to be like elite shooters. I think it just depends on like if you're drafting like you think they're going to be like a primary offensive driver, yeah, like they need to be able to shoot. But there's other guys you draft, especially at this point. Like if you're really, I think if you're drafting out of the top 3, like you shouldn't be counting on a star,
Sure,
or like a main guy.
Yeah.
Really, even in the top 3, you don't know for sure. So like. Kind of goes both ways, I guess, is what I'm getting at. I said a bunch of stuff, but I didn't really say much of anything, I guess. But y'all know what I mean.
All I know is Draymond. Draymond can shoot threes, barely, but
whatever. Dude.
Well,
if he
kind
wants to
of.
be Draymond Pro,
He can shoot them.
then-
Yeah, you can shoot him. I don't know if he can make them.
that meme of Draymond with the backpack on shooting is the funniest because it's so accurate.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. This is the last one. So this is 14, and finally we get to San Antonio.
Ooh. Okay. Let me see who we got left over here. I think
There's some good players. Still
perfect.
left on the board.
I think if I'm San Antonio here at 14, I was hoping for the Thunder to get the 14th pick. You know what I mean? But as the Spurs, I'm going to ride with Boogie Fland out of Arkansas, a bit undersized, but I think that he is like extremely similar to what Darius Garland looked like whenever he was at Vanderbilt. Super shifty guard, like very creative. He can get to his shots kind of whenever he wants to. I know we've talked about this a decent bit, but with Steph Castle, kind of wanting to be a point guard, I'm kind of getting to the point with him of like, too bad. You're going to be like a secondary initiator, kind of back to how he was used at UConn. And especially if Chris Paul is going to be there next year as well, putting in like a real high upside offensive point guard to kind of shadow Chris Paul for a year. I think Boogie Fland is one of the best options to do that in this whole draft. And, with kind of how their roster is constructed, Castle, Sohan, and obviously Wemby, they kind of anchor that defense. So, like, put it kind of more on the offense. Take Boogie Fland.
Yeah, well, and I think too with like in terms of the Castle thing playing point guard or like just the way their roster is kind of coming together, it's like they're going to have a lot of flexibility. Like it's going to kind of be like a lot of modern teams play now where like maybe they don't really have like a real point guard all the time and like, things change. So yeah, that could be a really good pick, I think, because they do need some punch. Like they got to find a way to get some punch one way or another because there's stretches where they look like really good, but they just stall out a lot, and they just can't score.
Sure. Yeah, give me Boogie.
I like that pick. That's the end of the lottery. So that was fun. I guess we'll probably plan to start talking more about the mock draft. Obviously, like we've got All-Star Weekend and everything that's coming up. Or not All-Star Weekend, excuse me. All-Star Selection and everything is coming up. So maybe we'll plan to talk about that next week.
I like it.
Yep.
Cool.
Start making my picks.
Yeah, so we've got some obviously like league related stuff coming up, but we will start talking more about draft because we're inching ever closer and Jace is hard at work on that as always.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us this week, y'all, unless you had anything else before we leave.
I'm all good. Happy New Year, everyone, if it's not too late to say that.
It's too late. It's too late.
All right.
It's too late to say that.
It's not too late to say 2025 will be the best year yet. If you keep listening to Splatcast.
Oh, my.
That'll play really great. You cut out 2025 will be what, Ant?
We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I keep cutting out too much.
Hear us.
Yeah, no, that's all good. maybe it's a good time to pull the plug.
Wait, 2025 will be what? 2025 will be what?
Oh my goodness.
I was trying to say 2025
Anytime
is
you
the
try
best
to-
year yet. If you keep listening to Splatcast.
All right.
Oh, that's easy. That's an easy one.
All right,
Cut it, Ant.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, well, we are going to call it there. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we will see you next week.